Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to a special edition of Triad Today. Over the next half hour, we'll salute UNCG by taking a look back at 5 outstanding segments from the past year. You'll hear about cybersecurity, services to military vets, staying healthy, and appreciating art. But first, a look back at my conversation with UNCG Chancellor Frank Gilliam. UNCG is 125 years old, and my first guest believes that I was there in the beginning, which I'm not that old. But next to me is a man who is also not that old, Dr. Franklin Gilliam, Chancellor of UNCG. Welcome, sir.
Mr. Longworth.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And now, you know, you came from UCLA, and that's just almost 3 years ago.
I'm going into my 4th year.
Yeah, and I'm thinking UNCG has had record growth. There's this new branding campaign. We'll show them the T-shirt in a second, this shirt. But there's a lot going on, and I'm just wondering, bring me up to speed.
Well, first, let me congratulate you on your 700 show.
Thank you.
That's quite a record. You know, we're at a critical moment in the university's history. It's what I've talked about as an inflection point. You know, either we're going to really take off and be serious about it, or it's going to fizzle out. Record growth, record number of students on campus. As you know, your beloved McKeever building has come down.
Yeah.
And the new one is going to pop out of the ground here soon in its place. We've added, as you know, Spartan Village 2, a new set of residence halls on Gate City.
Right.
And they have stores, and we are hoping for Best Way Market to open soon, and restaurants for the students.
Really extending the community.
Really extending the community. There have been jobs for the community. So the campus is really at a great point. We have 5 conference championships last year, which is pretty exciting.
That was exciting.
And we've had really record academic progress. We're the one of 2 UNC schools that met all 5 of our performance metrics this year, 2 of 17.
Congratulations.
And we exceeded the 5-year mark in 3 out of the 5. So
Yeah.
we feel very good about it.
Well, I'm proud to be a Spartan, and speaking of being a Spartan, you have a new logo, and I know Brian has some footage to show you of the new logo, but I thought I would also hold this sweatshirt up that Eden brought to me. And now, let me just ask you, I don't mean to be cute about this, but is this just a neat design, or does this also represent where you want to take us?
Well, it's part of an entire brand refresh. One of the things we did do is we kept Minerva. We added a color, gray, and we now have a new brand message. So the idea was to meld the legacy with the future. We consulted a wide range of folks. Part of our problem, I've always felt, has been a case of identity or lack thereof. It's not a mistaken identity, it's a lack of identity. And we have a great story to tell, and in this case, in the iconic sense, the look and the feel are meant to show we have a connection to our past, but we're forward looking.
Now you also have this new slogan that says, "Find your way here." I want you to elaborate on that, and does it have anything to do with construction traffic on I-40?
Well, I think we won't take credit for that, but what Find Your Way Here is really the core message of our university, which is no matter who you are, you seem to be able to find a place. It's not a campus dominated by one group or another, by Greeks or athletes or theater people, like a lot of campuses are. People find their place. They find their wow there. They find their inspiration. They find their career.
You're right.
And so find your way. It could be find your way there, right? Find your here could actually mean the campus. And we think it gives us a lot of flexibility, but at the same time, really capturing the essence of the university.
We have a little bit of time left. Tell me what's coming up for the upcoming year.
Well, as you know, one of the things we're proud of, we're heavily engaged in the greater Triad community. We'll be heavily involved with the North Carolina Folk Festival, as we have been. We've been at LeBauer Park all summer with Spartan Cinema.
Right.
We have a great concert and lecture series. We have Alan Alda coming up, Audrey McDonald, Herbie Hancock. And we, of course, our soccer teams are playing now, men's and women's. So we're really excited and look for more development along Gate City Boulevard.
Well, I tell you what, this is great. I can't wait to go put this on. This is neat sweatshirt here. Has the new logo on there. It's very strong. Looks like it's very aggressive. I like it.
Well, we're aggressive. So we got to be.
I know you're aggressive. That's what I like about you. You came from UCLA. You took that UCLA Bruin spirit and just Now, up on screen is the website, UNCG.EDU. Please check that out. Lots of good stuff on there and that you can find out about the university. So think about going there. If you happen to be a parent and you have a child coming up through the ranks, we want you. All right. Thank you, Chancellor.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Oh, back now I tried today. I didn't mean to be rude to the audience, but I was looking at this Healthy UNCG t-shirt. It says Healthy UNCG. I'm going to find out what that means. They've got a Frisbee here about something that's coming up. There's all sorts of goodies here. I don't even want to go to the guest. I mean, I just have so many goodies. I'll just sit here and look at it. No, next to me, let's get it right now on my right. Stephanie Milroy is director of what we call Healthy UNCG, and that's the first thing I want to do is find out about that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I'm fascinated by your title. What do you do as head of Healthy UNCG?
So I'm the director of Healthy UNCG. I'm an alum of UNCG, just like yourself, and so go Spartans. I received my Bachelor of Science in Community Health Education there in 2004, went on to do my Master of Public Health there in 2006. Since then, I became a certified health education specialist and a health coach as well.
Now, why did you want to go into that?
You know, it starts off, it's a long story that we don't have time for, but for me, I wanted to do more in terms of prevention and behavioral health versus the treatment side of things.
Excellent,
So,
that's great. Now, why is this position? I know it's hard for you to answer since you head it up, but why is having a position like yours so important to the university, do you think?
Well, we really, we provide a lot for our employees in terms of programs, services, resources, and on one hand, it's, you know, to promote a healthy lifestyle for them and a better quality of life, but on the UNCG or the business side of things, we know that, you know, having healthy employees and happy employees, that's what makes for loyal employees, and
Sure.
for it helps us to really retain and recruit those good employees and retain
Sure.
those employees. And so it's really a win-win on both sides. We're able to, you know, give something back to our employees, and then that in turn, they want to come here and they want to work here and do their best while they're at UNCG.
Yeah, I want to ask you about some of the things, just a couple specific examples of things that you do for or offer the employees, because there's almost 3,000, I think 2,800 employees.
Yes.
So give me a couple examples of things that you offer to them to try to keep people healthy.
So we have an array of services that we provide and offer. Everything from our most popular program, I guess you'd say, is our fitness lending library. Employees can check out, just like you would out of a library, fitness equipment, but we actually deliver that piece of equipment to them and pick it up, so it eliminates the barrier.
You deliver the equipment.
And pick it up from them. So
Wow.
They don't have to lift a finger until that equipment gets
What
to them,
kind of
and then we expect
equipment?
them to lift.
We're not talking about, I mean, what kind of equipment are we talking
We
about?
have kettlebells, we have desk elliptical machines, we have exercise DVDs. I mean, it's,
Is this for alum or just current employees?
hey, you know what, we could get a bus and drive it down here, I'm sure. We'll see what you got.
Yeah. She looked at my stomach and said, yeah, we need to bring a lot of equipment in.
Not at all, not at all.
Now, now look, this is great for helping the employees. What about taking your message that you've been articulating out past the boundaries of the campus to the community? What are you working on?
So currently, the Guilford Heart Walk is coming up on May 19th, and UNCG has sponsored and hosted this event in the past. This year, we're really excited about it because our Chancellor, Frank Gilliam, is actually the chairman of the walk this year. So there's a lot of, you know, buzz around campus about this walk coming up. We have individuals registered, teams registered. It's going to be a great event. There's things for the kids to do. There's more than just the walk happening, and it's all benefits the Triad American Heart Association. So
Sure.
we're excited.
And of course, you'll get a lot of UNCG people, but you're really doing this to sort of as outreach to the community.
Right.
To say this is what we're doing to keep our folks healthy, and this is sort of a thing that we can do, that everybody can do together in families. And it's not one of these runs. This is actual walk, right?
It's just a walk, yeah. So no competition. There's no timing or anything. It's just a walk. You know, we've got. It's a great way for us to show off our campus, but also, you know, actually be involved with the community and have the community come to our space.
So it'll start on campus.
It starts on campus.
All right, so it's up on screen, or we may have already had this on screen, but
Yeah.
the Guilford Heart Walk, Saturday, May 19th, www.2.heart.org is where you can find out information about that. Starts on campus, but go to that information, that website. And also, the general website for UNCG is UNCG.EDU for, as I said, general information. So we have the Frisbee that says Heart Walk. That's going to remind me to walk. And then here's the T-shirt and all this neat stuff. Stephanie, thanks for all you do.
Thank you for having us on. We appreciate it.
All right. Be careful when you say go Spartans. That could have something to do with Michigan, and we don't know if it's
UNCG, Spartans,
UNCG.
let's go
Yeah,
G.
That's right. We'll be Michigan and UNCG. We'll be right back. Back now on Triad Today. Always glad to see someone from my alma mater, UNCG, and this gentleman is doing a lot of great work for a lot of good folks, and we're going to meet him right now. Brad Wren. Bradley Wren is Director of Military Affiliated Services for UNCG. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. I'm going to ask a stupid question. What does it mean when, and I was looking at an email from you and it says Military Affiliated Services. What does that mean in terms of what you do for the veterans and the overall mission that you do?
Sure, that's a fantastic question. And Military Affiliated Services is actually a new name for us. We were previously known as the Veterans Resource Center.
That's right, that's right.
But we don't only serve veterans. So we serve active duty service members, family members, retirees, ROTC students, even students who are civilians but who are planning on going into the military.
Right.
So we deliberately chose that name because if you are a student at UNCG and you are in any way affiliated with the military, our office is here to serve you.
All inclusive. I think that's good.
Absolutely.
What is this thing you emailed me about one day and it said Veterans Access Program specifically?
Yeah, the Veterans Access Program is a really, really great program that was spearheaded by Dr. Sue Letvak in the School of Nursing, and Sue is also a prior service member. And really the basis of the program is to give an accelerated plan of study in the nursing program to service members who have a background in the medical field.
So if they were in the field in Iraq or someplace like that and did some medical work, then they can transfer those skills thanks to what you're doing and helping them with.
Absolutely. And at UNCG, that program was the start of a larger university-wide initiative to offer that same type of credit for other folks outside of the medical field. So if you have a military job, an MOS or an AFSC, that's a military job, that is related to or pertains to your potential major at UNCG, we work directly with the Transfer Articulation Office to get you the absolute maximum number of course credit hours that we can for that military
and that's as it
experience and
should
training.
be, because you're really rewarding somebody for the expertise that they have on that. All right, before time gets away with us, there's something you do called Coffee with Veterans. What's that about?
So it's a program that we have in conjunction with the UNCG Alumni Affairs Office, and it basically connects military affiliated students, primarily prior service members, with faculty, staff, and alums who are themselves prior service members. And the goal of the program is eventually to set up a mentorship program wherein military students are partnered with a faculty and staff mentor when they first come to the university. And then as they're exiting the university through graduation, we connect them with an alum from the university who is a service member who is working in the career field that the student is majoring in to try to help them get a network started out in the workforce.
I know that you were in the Air Force, and so just sort of sum up for me based on what we've been talking about the last few minutes, but come at it not as an administrator, but as a veteran. Why is this service so important, and why should it be available all over, all universities doing it?
Well, the transition to civilian life from the military is in itself very difficult. You know, a lot of times folks go from the military right out of their parents' house. So they've had no decisions, they've not had to make any decisions for 18 years, and then they go into the military and the military makes all their decisions for them. And so you do 10 years in the military, you come out and you're 28 years old, you've never had to make a decision before, and you're now having to make all sorts of decisions.
Yeah.
And particularly in the university system, you know, the idea is that we want to encourage our students to be more independent and make those decisions on their own. Well, that's great for an 18-year-old first semester freshman,
right.
But if you are a non-traditional age student, as most prior service members are, it's difficult to navigate a lot of those questions. And so it's great to have a primary point of contact for those folks. So if they have questions or need help with particular issues, they can come to us and they know who to come to.
Well, I'm glad you're doing that. Up on screen, the website VETERANS.UNCG.EDU, and I'll also throw up there, I think we have Twitter at UNCG Military and Instagram, hashtag UNCG Military. I hope you guys will check that out. The audience will look at that and our radio listeners as well. Thanks for all you do, Bradley.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, sir. Back now on Triad Today, and I'll bet you or somebody in your family has heard the term hack. not me. My wife calls me a hack, but that's a whole different thing. But hacking, elections being hacked, security being hacked, internet, your websites, your Facebook. What are we going to do about it? I just happen to have a gentleman with me here today who is an expert on cybersecurity. Let's meet him right now. Bryce Porter comes to us by way of Massachusetts and New England, a good family man with 6 kids. And he is Chief Information Security Officer for UNCG, my alma mater. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks very much, Jim.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, explain what you do in terms of cybersecurity, because as everybody at the university knows, they don't claim me as a graduate because I don't know anything about technology. But what are your responsibilities? What do you do?
Primarily, me and my team are responsible for making sure that the data and the critical systems that are used to deliver knowledge to the students, as well as support those who do that, stay safe, that they're free from breach by hackers or identity thieves or even natural disasters like hurricanes.
Right.
Anything that could compromise the confidentiality, the integrity, or the availability of that data.
And I guess people don't think about it being so important with a university when they hear things on TV like, well, Sony or CBS was hacked, or this industry, or Facebook, but it's important at the university.
It's very important. I mean, we have 20,000 undergrad students whose personally identifying information is on a system or on several systems at the university. And so if we don't keep that safe, we're sort of dealing those folks a bad hand at the very early part of their careers. And that's not to mention the almost 3,000 faculty and staff and administration, critical payroll data, all the things that happen in a small town happen at a university.
And we don't forget that, well, it is, you're like your own small town, but at the same time, as Chancellor Gilliam talks about, there's a lot of outreach going on. You support vendors and a lot of people around in the area, so
that's right.
You got a security issue there. I want to read something very quickly off of an email that you guys sent me. And you were quoted as saying that cybersecurity isn't a technical problem, it's a human problem.
That's right.
What did you mean by that?
Well, security starts with people's decisions and what they do in terms of deciding whether to protect something, to keep it secret, to keep it safe, and how they go about doing that. Cybersecurity is a human issue, but fortunately there are a lot of technology solutions that help keep things protected, encrypted, things like that. If you can lock your laptop, if you can lock your phone with a password, make it a strong password, things like that, those are all human decisions that affect the outcome of the security of your data.
I was going to ask you, give me some other tips, because I want, not that, I still have a flip phone, so you're not going to be able to help me. but talk about some of these things. I want to drive the point home of things we can do to protect ourselves and not do stupid things either. Give me an idea, because I know people, say things and put things out there that maybe they shouldn't. But
sure. And a lot of these things aren't surprising. They're things you've probably heard before, but don't make your password very simple and easy to guess. Don't make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make it a complex password. Don't use the same password for every system, because if data is breached at a company that you do business with, you mentioned Target or Equifax or one of these companies, your password probably is part of that data breach. And if you're using that same password everywhere, well, that means your password's breached everywhere that you've used it.
Yeah.
Keeping an eye on your bank statements, things that hackers and activists might try and attack, making sure that you question any transactions that you don't recognize. These are basic security principles that are going to go a long way towards helping make sure that you keep your data safe.
Let me just, we didn't rehearse this or anything. I was just curious because we've never met until just now. Why did you want to go into this kind of career?
I spent a long time, I have 26 years in information technology, and I sort of came up with the industry a little bit. And as the industry matured, there were certain events, 15, 20 years ago, and at the time I was in a military contracting position, and there were hackers that attacked military systems, and the U.S. Army responded by passing sweeping regulations calling for information security officers at every base, at every command post. And so I was interested because I ran systems, network systems that were under attack. I saw the attacks coming in, I saw the traffic, and I wanted to know how to do a better job of protecting our systems. And so I volunteered. I kind of stepped up and said, train me to be a network security manager, train me to be an information security officer.
Great?
Yep.
Well, I just appreciate what you do. Up on screen, let me put a couple things up here. UNCG.EDU is a website, and then you can also go to ITSNEWS.UNCG.EDU to get all sorts of information about what's going on around the university, and even the topics we were talking about today. But I really do, seriously, all joking aside, I really appreciate what you do, because even for stupid people like me that are technologically not advanced, you give good advice, you do a great service to the university and to the whole community that depends on the university, and I appreciate what you do.
Thanks very much. Really it's a wide approach, because we do a lot of research at UNCG too, so it's not just our local community, it's really the world. We're protecting the world.
Thanks, Bryce, appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, back now on Triad Today, I was just looking at this book. It's called Dread and Delight. It's my life story. No, not really. It's this is by a lovely lady. Emily Staley is with us, and she's not here to. She didn't come here to hawk the book, but I'm just going to mention it anyway. And I think we have a graphic of it up on screen. Next to me, Emily Staley. She's curator of exhibitions at UNCG's Weatherspoon Art Museum. I'm just going to go ahead and ask you real quick before we get into the exhibits. What is this book about, very quickly?
It is about artists who have looked at classical fairy tales, so think Cinderella, Snow White, Little Red Riding Hood, ones that you know,
Right.
and update them or taken them apart in a way that looks at our life today.
So they're doing art based on their interpretations of the old fairy tale.
Exactly.
And all sorts of art.
All sorts of art.
That's interesting. All right. Now, very quickly, describe your role as curator. Some people will wonder what that title means, and what do you do?
So I get the best job in the world. I get to research art and pick out what's going to go in the galleries,
Oh,
and
neat.
then write the labels that you see on the wall with it, write the books that go with it, put it all together.
You know, UNCG, and I'm a alumnus of UNCG too, you know, a lot of times we used to say that the general public doesn't really understand how great Weatherspoon is, and because maybe some people think it's just for students and faculty, because, you know, some things are restricted and you have to be a member of a faculty, whatever. But that's not so with Weatherspoon.
No, we are open to everybody. So we're there for faculty and students, but we're there for the community too. We're on the edge of campus. We've even got free parking, and we are open Tuesday through Sunday free, always.
I just think that's great. All right, now let's get to it, because this sort of ties in with the Dread and Delight book, and that is this fairy tale exhibit that you guys emailed me about. Tell me about that.
So same title as the book, Dread and Delight, Fairy Tales in an Anxious World. There are 7 different stories in the show, all by the Brothers Grimm, and then all kinds of different art. So sculptures, paintings, photographs, video. One of our sort of showstopper pieces is a nearly life-size Cinderella carriage.
Oh, see, now I want folks at home to see this. Instead of us just talking about it, I want you to watch some footage, there's some music behind it, and these are people putting together the carriage, Cinderella's carriage exhibit, and it's made of what, rock candy?
Covered in crystallized rock candy.
Rock candy. Watch them put together. That's just fascinating footage to see that put together. But I know you probably spend millions of dollars on security. You don't want people stealing artwork. Are you afraid somebody's going to come in and start eating these exhibits?
We've got a nice big riser underneath it and some stanchions out around there. So we're going to try and keep everyone at bay.
You can't eat rock candy on that.
Yeah.
That's just fascinating. Now, is there an admission charge to Weatherspoon? I've been to some big galleries around the country. Sometimes you walk in, you get in for free, but then they'll have a certain exhibit that you have to pay for or whatever.
Nope. Walk right in.
Just walk in. I'm just curious, what attracted you to this field? I mean, we didn't rehearse this or anything, but I know you said you came from Washington State. What attracted you to want to work in this field?
You know, I've loved art since I was a little kid. And I figured out very early on I wasn't any good at making it.
You can't, that's like me. My dad was an artist, but I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. So.
Right. But I can read about it and learn about it and then share that with other people. And that's the
You have a
best
good
thing.
eye for it. I mean, if you didn't, you wouldn't obviously. I mean, here we have this book, which I'm going to go ahead and plug again on screen. We have that graphic on there, Dread and Delight. It's just a great book. I want you to get it. You go to the museum and get it. And as Emily said, you know, we were talking off camera, you can get it online, but don't do that. Go into the museum and get it. And you'll even sign it for them, right?
Sure.
Okay, that's good.
Absolutely.
Up on screen, the information I want you to see is www.weatherspoon.uncg.edu. And for the radio listening audience, I'll say it again, weatherspoon.uncg.edu. It will tell you all about what's going on at Weatherspoon Art Museum. I'm just so proud of you and what you're doing, and it's a fascinating job.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck with everything.
Thanks so much.
Don't let anybody eat that carriage.
we won't.
Yeah. All right, Dread and Delight. Go get this, is great. Go to the museum. Well, that's it for this special edition of Triad Today, but if you want to learn more about UNCG, visit their main website, and that is UNCG.EDU. For all of us here at Triad Today, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.